They survived because they ate the dead. 72 days, no food, no rescue, and the only thing left was each other. They found them because of the color of a jacket, not a rescue beacon, not a flare, not a radio signal, a jacket. And if the wind had been blowing the other way that morning, no one would have ever found them at all. 45 people boarded that plane. 16 walked out of the mountain, but surviving was not the hardest part. The hardest part was what they had to do to get there. And here is the question I want you to sit with as you watch this. If you were there, would you have made the same choice? October 1972, Montevideo, Uruguay. A group of young men packed their bags with the kind of energy that only exists when you are young and certain that nothing bad will ever happen to you. They are rugby players, the Old Christians Club, mostly university students, 19, 20, 22 years old. They are flying to Santiago, Chile for a match. They are laughing, joking, arguing about who is going to score the most tries. Some of them have brought their parents, their friends, their girlfriends. The plane is a Uruguayan Air Force Fairchild FH-227, a twin-engine turboprop, standard aircraft, routine flight, 45 people on board. One of the players, a young man named Nando Parado, is sitting next to his mother and his sister. He is 22 years old. He has no idea that in a few hours his world will end and then begin again in a way he could never imagine. The Andes Mountains stretch between Argentina and Chile like a wall built by God. Peaks over 6,000 meters, permanent ice, temperatures that fall to -30 at night. The pilots know they need to pass through a specific mountain corridor called the Planchon Pass, but the weather is closing in. And here is where the first mistake is made. The pilots begin their descent too early. They think they have already crossed the Andes. They have not. Imagine sitting in that cabin, looking out the window, and instead of the flat green valley you expect to see below you, you see a wall of white rock coming directly at you. Someone shouts. The engines scream as the pilots pull back on the controls, but it is too late. The right wing clips a mountain peak. It tears off instantly. The plane spins. 3 people in the back are sucked out into the freezing air at 4,000 meters. Just like that, gone. The fuselage, the main body of the plane, slides down the mountainside like a bullet, bouncing, tumbling, tearing apart, and then it stops. What killed most of them wasn't the crash. It was what came after. Silence. Then the sounds begin. Moaning, crying, someone calling a name over and over. The cold hits immediately, like a wall of knives. The survivors stumble out of the broken fuselage into blinding white light. Mountains in every direction. No path, no road. No sign of human life, just snow and silence and the wreckage of a plane. 12 people are dead already. Others are dying. Nando Parado is unconscious, a fracture in his skull. His mother is fatally injured. His sister is barely breathing. The survivors who can still stand look at each other. They are at an altitude of 3,600 meters, in the middle of the Andes, with no radio, no warm clothing, almost no food, and absolutely no idea where they are. The first thing they do is check on the injured. Some have broken legs, crushed ribs, deep lacerations from the metal of the fuselage. There is no doctor on board, but there is a medical student, Roberto Canessa, 19 years old. He does what he can, which is not much. At night, the temperature inside the wrecked fuselage drops to -30 degrees Celsius. They huddle together. Body heat is the only thing keeping them alive. They use seat covers as blankets, luggage as insulation. They melt snow in bottles during the day for water. Food is found quickly. The passengers had chocolate bars, wine, a few snacks. They ration it carefully, a tiny piece of chocolate per person per day. It is almost nothing, but they are still hopeful because they know the world is looking for them. They heard the crash on the emergency radio in the plane. Search planes must be coming. They just need to stay alive long enough to be found. They see planes in the distance, far away. They wave, they shout. The planes don't see them. Of course they don't. The fuselage is white, the mountain is white. They are invisible. Days pass. The food gets smaller. More people die from their injuries. Cold is relentless. Nando Parado wakes from his coma on the 4th day. The first thing he asks about is his mother. They tell him she didn't make it. He lies still for a long moment. Then he asks about his sister Susie. She is alive, barely. He takes her hand hand and refuses to let go. Susie dies 8 days after the crash. Nando holds her until she stops breathing. And then something changes in him. Something cold, something determined. He decides in that moment that he is going to survive, no matter what it takes. On day 11, something happens that breaks them completely. One of the survivors manages to repair the radio just enough to pick up a broadcast. They crowd around it, desperate, hoping to hear news of the rescue mission. And they do hear something. The search has been called off. 8 days after the crash, the Chilean and Uruguayan authorities officially declared that there were no survivors. The mountains are too remote, the terrain too dangerous, the chances of survival too small. The search planes had gone home. Their families were already grieving. The world had moved on. And here, at 3,600 meters, in a broken plane, in the most hostile environment on Earth, 27 people were still alive. Imagine hearing that. Imagine the silence in that fuselage. Some of them wept, some prayed, some stared at the walls. One of them, Gustavo Nikolic, stood up, and he said something that has stayed in history forever. "We have just heard some good news. Good news. They have stopped looking for us," which means they have to get themselves out. And that was the moment. That was when everything changed. But there was still a problem no one wanted to say out loud. The food was gone. Completely gone. And in that kind of cold, the human body burns through calories at a terrifying rate. Without food, they would be dead within days. Not weeks, days. By now, their bodies weren't the only thing breaking. Their minds were starting to slip. And once that happens, survival becomes something else entirely. There was no food, nothing, except there was something. Pause here, because what comes next is the part of this story that never leaves the people who lived through it. This is where survival stops being physical and becomes something else entirely. Scattered around the wreckage were the bodies of the dead, frozen, preserved. The living understood. No one wanted to say it, but everyone was thinking it. Roberto Canessa finally said it. "If we don't do this, we die." Silence. Some refused immediately. Some cried. Some prayed. Nando Parado spoke quietly. "If I die, you can use my body." Think about that. 22 years old, after losing his mother and sister, offering that. One by one, decisions were made. Not all of them, but enough. No one was forced. No one was judged. They began. Carefully, quietly, with respect. And they survived another day, then another. Survival is not dramatic every minute. Most of it is waiting, cold, silence, time that refuses to move. But now they had strength, and with strength came a new idea, escape, because waiting was death. Then, on day 17, an avalanche. In the middle of the night, a wall of snow crashes into the fuselage. It fills the cabin in seconds. 8 more die. The survivors claw their way out with bare hands. They are now 19 and still alive. They adapt, they build, they plan. Sleeping bags from wreckage, roles assigned, routes discussed, and slowly, Nando builds a plan. They will walk west, into the mountains. Others call it madness. 6,000 meters, no equipment, no training. But staying means death, so they go. Day 61, 3 men leave. Nando Parado, Roberto Canessa, Antonio Vicentin. Into the white. 3 days later, they send one back. Not enough food, now only 2 remain. Climbing, step by step. Every step, their bodies are consuming themselves. They are walking on borrowed time. For 10 days, they move. Then from the peak, Nando sees it. Green, not snow. Green. He breaks. They follow a river. And on December 20th, 1972, they find a man. Sergio Catalan, a farmer on the other side of a river. He throws them bread and a pen. Nando writes, "I come from a plane that crashed in the mountains. There are 14 people still alive. We need help." Catalan rides for 10 hours. The next day, helicopters arrive. Back at the crash site, they hear it. Engines, rescue. 1 man collapses in the snow and cannot stop crying. 16 survived. 29 did not. When the world learned what happened, it reacted. Shock, judgment, debate, but also understanding. Families said their loved ones would have wanted them to live. Even the church spoke, not of sin, but of survival, of love. The survivors went on. Doctors, fathers, leaders. But none of them were ever the same. 72 days. No food, no rescue, no certainty. They survived because of each other, because they refused to give up, because they made a decision no human should ever have to make. Most people watching this think they know what they would do, but you don't. Not when you're starving, not when you're freezing. So here's the real question. If you were there, how long would it take before you changed your mind?